Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young, aka Sneakernomics, and I am back once again with another list. Yeah, it's that time of the year where most of sneaker content is clogged up talking about things like the top 10 sneakers of the year, top 10 worst sneakers of the year, top 10 socks to wear with your shoes, top 10 reasons to think I'm cool, top 10 sneakers to wear on your feet. In today's episode, I want to talk about the best and the worst colorways that came out on all of the major Jordan retros this year. So I made a video yesterday talking about some of the worst or most polarizing sneakers to come out in 2022, and I forgot to mention probably the most divisive sneaker of the year, the cactus plant flea market overgrowns, or the flea ones. This was no doubt one of the most polarizing sneakers to come out this year. I didn't put them in the list because I'm biased and I like them. I happen to think they're really cool, but it would be remiss of me not to mention this sneaker as being one of the worst or most polarizing sneakers of the year, even though I love them. Now, if you watch that video, you'll notice that the production was a bit off. There was a mistake that I made in the frame rate, and so I just wanted to say thank you everybody out there that took time to comment that I had made this error. It's quite funny because I come from TikTok, where polished editing and high-level production is kind of like an afterthought, or not even a thought at all, where on YouTube, having attention to detail is something that is very much par for the course. Like if you comment on someone's TikTok video and say,
"Hey man, you know, that video transition wasn't appropriate, their audio is a little bit off."
Like, people on TikTok are gonna be like, "Bro, haven't you got better things to do?" Whereas on YouTube, the audience is a lot more alert to like editing mistakes or production inadequacies, to the point where people will call out certain things on your videos.
Like, hey man, that audio was clipping. You probably want to like adjust the microphone, get it further away from you, or just adjust the audio input recording level. Hey man, I noticed that the frames per second were off. You probably want to adjust your shutter count so that it's in better proportion to your frames per rate recording settings.
Like, it's quite funny to me, the difference in the attentiveness of the audiences. But nonetheless, thank you all so much. I hope this video comes off a lot better. So into the list, I'm gonna pick the best colorway and the worst colorway. We're just gonna go with the high versions. We're gonna include collabs, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun with the list. So with the Jordan 1, I think the worst colorway of the Jordan 1 high that came out this year were the Visionaires. They really put the vault into revolting with this color choice, in my opinion. Now, the only thing that they could have chosen to do to make this sneaker more egregious than it already is to add a really crap material, and they decided to do just that with cracked leather. Now, as for the best Jordan 1 high colorway of the year, the low-hanging fruit, or the obvious choice, is going to be the Lost and Found or the Chicago, but I think a very respectable choice for the best Jordan 1 high of the year is the Taxi colorway. I think these are really nice. The color blocking is dope, and it's a shoe that, had it come out like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, would have been reselling for like 500 plus. So 2022 was definitely the year of the Jordan 2 high. We had more Jordan 2 highs than ever before. Yeah, unprecedented level of collabs. Everybody got a collab with the Jordan 2 high this year, and there were some good ones. I like the Union 2s, I like the Amamanier 2s, but my 2 high of the year is the Chicago. I'm a big sucker for OG colorways, and this shoe hasn't come out since 2010, and for that reason, it's the best colorway in my opinion. Worst Jordan 2 high of the year, it's gonna be the Nina Chanel Abneys. It's just the shape of these that put me off. She basically took the worst features of the Jordan 2s in its chunkiness, its blockiness, its obliqueness, and just amplified those undesirable traits to create an almost like cartoonish looking shoes. The best Jordan 3 of the year, in my opinion, were the Fire Reds. We had a return to the original shape. We had the Nike Air on the back. The elephant print was updated. It was just like like one of the best retros of the entire year. As for the worst, I think it's going to go to the Archeo Browns. Now, I actually did a review on these and spoke quite complimentary of them, and I did vacillate between liking them and not liking them. In the end, I returned them. There was something about the sashiko embroidery around the toe cap and the heel that just put me off. There were some nice colorways of the Jordan 4 this year. I think the best Jordan 4 for me are going to be the Yamamanyes. The quality is good, the collab was a hit, and it's definitely a contender for the best shoe of the year in general. As for the worst Jordan 4, I think the worst one is going to have to be the Zen Masters. Jordan 5s, there were some nice Jordan 5s this year. I like the sail colorway of the DJ Khaled's. It was nice to see the green beans come back. I think the best, in my opinion, this year has to be the Gore-Tex. They are just simple and clean, and they almost look like a baby off-white. As for the worst Jordan 5s, I was kind of stuck between the Jade Horizons and the DJ Khaled 5s, the Crimson Bliss colorway, but ultimately I had to go for the Khaled's. It's just a miss of a colorway. They look like they'd be great for like a preschool or like a kid's shoe or something like that. They're fun, they're vibrant and stuff, but for me, the colorway is not particularly wearable. So DJ Khaled 5s, Crimson Bliss, worst 5 of the year. I think it was a really strong year for Jordan 6s this year. There were some really nice colorways. I think the Midnight Navies were awesome. The Chrome 6s, really nice. But for me, the best Jordan 6 colorway of the year were the Georgetowns, and the worst, had to go with the red Oreos. They're still nice, but out of the bunch, they were the worst. Had some pretty cool Jordan 7s this year. We had the return of the classic Citrus, but I think my favorite colorway of the 7s that came out this year, it's not gonna surprise you, it's the Cardinals. Jordan 7 had some pretty like wacky and freaky like reimaginations this year. Beffy's, Beauty Supplies, but in terms of like a normal sort of like Jordan 7 release, I'm gonna go with the Sapphires as being the worst 7s this year. There were only a couple of 8s this year, the Rui Hachimuras and the Taxis, which only went up to a size 12 women's, and if I could have one or the other, I would take the Rui Hachimuras personally. Jordan 9s, there was only a few, the Particle Grays, the Chili Reds, and the Fire Reds. I think the best pair for me out of all of these has got to be the Particle Grays, just because they're the simplest. Jordan 9, one of my least favorite Jordan models ever, and the worst, I'm gonna say Chili Red. Only a couple of 11s, the Cherries and the Midnight Navies. Obvious choice, it's going to be the Cherry 11's the best, Midnight Navy's the worst. Jordan 12s, unsurprisingly, the OG colorway, the Playoffs Best Jordan 12 release of the year. Worst Jordan 12 this year has got to be these Hyper Royals. These look like you've given a Playoff 12 to a kid and then he's proceeded to customize them and just run out of paint. Jordan 13, I think the best colorway of the Jordan 13 to come out is the Uni Blues. These just dropped recently. There's no recency bias. I think these are clean. The worst, it's tricky to pick the worst because all the 13 colorways that came out are all pretty simple, but the least desirable one for me are the Del Sols. And there we have it. There's my list of the best and worst colorways of the retro Jordan models this year. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you agree or you disagree with my list. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of content. I have my top 10 sneakers of the year coming up soon, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications so you can be alerted to when that video goes live, as well as all the other content that I've got planned over the festive period. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I appreciate your audience and have yourselves a lovely day. Take care and peace.